So it gives me great pleasure, and it's a great honor to introduce Mr. Safko. Let's give it up for Safko.
Holy moly. How much did you make up? What an honor to be here. This is so cool. This is the first AutoCon. This is the first of many. Everybody doing it right? Oh, come on. It's social media. It's social. You doing it right? Yeah. All right. Yeah, now we're talking. All right. Let's get out of there. Let's get out of there. Let's just want to sit and listen to music. Turn the lights down. Just kind of chill. Let that blood sugar kick in. All right, social media. I know you guys know social media. You've heard about it. It's been around forever. You're probably all experts on it because you've actually done a Facebook page and sent out a couple of tweets. There's a little bit more to social media than just Facebook and Twitter. Facebook and Twitter is a strategy. It's a tool. It's just one of dozens and dozens of tools that are really effective. It just turns out that Facebook and Twitter is pretty much the most notoriety, highest notoriety, most people participate. So you're kind of familiar with it for that reason. But what I want to do over the next few minutes is I want to change the way that you look at social media. First of all, I want to show you the psychology behind the technology so that you'll better understand why some social media works and some social media doesn't. I want to show you the big picture of social media. That's why I call it the big picture. And as Ralph pointed out right now, the book has been scaled down to 600 pages. So if it was just Facebook and Twitter, I would need 600 pages to define it. So by the time we're done here, I want to show you different things that you can do with social media, actual successes that other people have found by using social media. But I want to broaden your horizon. I want to make you think different about what social media is. Everybody okay with that? You guys in the cheap seats? Hey, if this was a concert, these seats would go for 3 times as much. Okay, hey, it's up to you. Okay, definition. First off, let's start with social media. I'll give you the short definition. It's media that we use to be social. Yeah, I know, that's not why I get the big bucks. But think about it for a second. It's media that we use to be social. For the last 6,000 years, we've been doing marketing. Ever since we stood in the desert on a rock and we put our hands together and we yelled why we think our goats are better than other people's goats and we should buy our goats and not their goats, we were doing marketing. But nothing really has changed over the last 6,000 years up until just a couple of years ago. Because that type of marketing is called push marketing. Broadcast, whether it's radio, television, newspaper, that's broadcasting. Broadcasting, like throwing chicken feed to chickens, throwing grass seed. It's always one-way marketing. And what happened was, in about 2004, 2005, we saw something kind of spontaneously combusting over the internet, and it was called social media. And the reason that most of us as marketers, or as salespeople, or as owners, the reason we're having trouble with it is that our entire lives, we've been doing push marketing, one-way marketing, monologue marketing, not dialogue marketing, not two-way communication. So a lot of marketing companies, a lot of people have a lot of trouble kind of wrapping their brain around how do you market using social media. So if you're having difficulty really wrapping your brain around what the definition of social media is, hey, join the rest of the crowd. Now, we did a recent survey. Even now, 66% of the people I surveyed, out of over 1,000 people, said they still can't really define what social media is. And the other third lied. I know that because it's not easy to understand. And the other thing is that 99-point-something% agrees that social media has actually changed the way we live, the way we do business, and more importantly, the way we sell. And that small percentage that doesn't think that it's changed, I did a little bit more research and they actually took a sharp blow to the head. It has changed. And we're not going back. I'm sorry. Anybody here old enough to remember when email came out? We said, OMG. Well, actually, we didn't do that then. But we said, OMG, not something else I have to monitor. Snail mail was bad enough. Junk mail was bad enough. But now we have electronic spam. Email didn't go away. Then the internet came around. And it was like, what are we going to do with this thing? This monstrosity. So we all put up a brochure. That was called brochureware. And we kind of secretly hoped that it would go away because we're working as hard as we can. Now, social media comes out to double your marketing and sales workload. I'm going to try to help get that all into focus for you by the end of this presentation. As you heard me start out, I said, Facebook and Twitter is not a strategy. And the problem is that too many companies are looking at social media tools as a strategy. Let me give you an example. I went to Kraft Foods. Kraft Foods, the first question was, do I have to actually create a separate Facebook page for every single product that we have? I said, yeah, you do. It's about brand loyalty. And then they told me they had over 180 products. OMG, again, appropriate here, 180 products. That means they have to create and manage 180 streams of conversations if they're going to do it for each of their products. And we needed to do it. Now, the one that's the most successful is Oreo cookies. Oreo cookies right now have just topped out at, not necessarily topped out because it's still growing. They have over 29 million friends. Imagine, now think about this. Now this applies to you guys too. If you've got a Facebook page out there, forget about 29 million. You got 29,000 people, 2,900 people, whatever that number is. They go there, they share information, they share experiences. They actually are engaging in your brand. And that's what social media is all about, is brand engagement. The difference with social media and conventional media is we don't sell anymore. With social media, you don't sell, you get flamed. It's called getting flamed. Because you're not supposed to sell. The whole idea is just to be out there where your customers are, so that when they become curious, when they enter the sales, everybody here know what the sales funnel is? Raise your hand, sales funnel. Ooh, sharp audience. That's more than 50%. If you don't know what the term sales funnel is, look it up, Google it, it's really important. As they enter that sales funnel, they're going to start investigating dealerships. And as they start finding them online, on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, they're going to start recognizing the name. They're going to start feeling comfortable. They're going to start reading the information that you're sharing with them. And as they move down to that sales funnel and it's time to buy, they're going to buy from the dealership that they have a relationship with. That's really powerful. The moment you try to sell them, you scare them away. So social media is about being where your customers are. Now I know if I ask you by a show of hands how many people don't care about Facebook for business, I'll bet you probably 90% of your hands would go up. Here's the deal, and this is also what I said to Kraft. It ain't about you. It ain't about you. It doesn't matter whether you like Facebook or you like LinkedIn or you really care about Twitter. If your customers, if your prospects does like Facebook, and there's 900 million. They're estimating that here shortly it's going to break 1 billion members on Facebook. I guarantee that your prospects are using Facebook if there's 1 billion people using it. If you don't like it, I don't care. If they like Facebook, and they do, and you're there, they'll find you, they'll participate with you, they'll buy the next car from you. If you're not there, your competition is, you lose. So when you leave here, no more whining. You can't whine about Facebook and Twitter. It's an extremely powerful tool, and it's about being where your customers are, not about being where you want to be. And we all know what's happening to broadcast media. We know the ineffectiveness now of newspaper advertising. We know how ineffective radio and television is becoming. And the reason is that the entire demographic is moving to iPhones, iPads, internet, Facebook. So we have to move with it or we're going to be left behind. So getting back to Kraft, what I said to him was, where's your strategy? We got 29 million people actively engaging in your Oreo brand. How are you monetizing it? Crickets. I heard crickets. Nothing. Most companies don't have a strategy. They're building their likes, they're building their Twitter following, they got their stuff on LinkedIn, they're expanding out, they're doing some other things, but there's no strategy. Without a strategy, it would be like taking your entire marketing budget for this year and throwing it in newspaper advertising. If you don't have a strategy, how are you going to convert that to revenue? You're wasting your money. You're wasting your efforts. If you've been participating in social media and it hasn't returned a good ROI, return on investment, it's because your strategy is weak. So that's what you have to focus on. It's not about the tools, it's about how to use the tools. Make sense? Also, if you're having trouble understanding what social media is, there's why. This, believe it or not, represents probably 10% of the companies out there that are providing some form or other of social media tools, social media assistants. websites. So, and again, I'm going to demystify all of this. By the time we leave you, you guys are going to be experts on it. First of all, don't scatter all of your resources. Resources are tough, man. First of all, I'm really proud to see you guys here. We just went through the worst 3 years in our lifetime economically. What did the industry go? 17,000, now it's almost 11. But you guys made it, and you're here, you're back, and you're going strong. I'm really proud of you that I can share the stage with you guys today. The fact is that you're here, you get it where a lot of other people don't get it. If you're going to focus on social media, if you can just do 3 things for me, just 3 things, you get 90% of everything that you need to do. Blogging, microblogging, social networks. Blogging, microblogging, social networks. And let me explain each. Now, what I do is, I'm not just a keynote, I'm not just here to entertain you, but I want to educate you. I want to show you why this stuff works, how it works, give you examples. Throughout this entire presentation, I'm going to give you personal examples of why social media works. Okay, let's talk about Twitter here for a second. I know you know what Twitter is. It's SMS text messaging, but it's kind of on steroids. It's just text messaging. The same thing as if you text your spouse or your kids, same thing, but there is a little bit of a twist. Some call followers and following. Let's take following. You know as well as I do that there are things that are happening on Capitol Hill right now that can go either way, which is either going to significantly help your businesses or is going to significantly burden your business. You know that. We voted to change, we got it. Now, if you're using Twitter, you got a smartphone, or you just haven't sent it to your email, which is what I do. I don't want to annoy myself with my phone. What if you follow the politicians from your areas or the ones that are supporting certain bills that are going to affect your business? And let's say that bill gets up for a vote, the gavel hits the bench, and you find out within 10 seconds. Why? Because there's an aide right there with both possible tweets ready to hit send on one or the other. And you find out within 10 seconds of whether that law passed or not. That doesn't have value. Or do you want to just kind of chill out and maybe it'll show up on Fox tomorrow morning? That's the thing. You can find people in your industry that are mavens, influencers, doing something that's going to either have a positive or negative impact on your business. And those people are actively tweeting. You can find out immediately when those types of things are happening. Or you can depend on mainstream news, maybe. So pick out people. What about you're a Honda dealer? Honda's ready to blow out a whole fleet of Honda cars, Honda vehicles. And they're all in your area. Does that have play at all into the way the rest of your day is going to go? Do you want to know about that before the other Honda dealer knows about that? Of course you do. You're going to tweet it, and then they're going to have the dealers run into it. So if you're getting this information, you're getting it in real time. Now, I'll give you an example. I follow somebody by the name of Robert Scoble. He's a social media dude. Of course, he's a social media dude. He's from California. So he was in Germany at a presentation similar to this, and an executive vice president of a big company was up on stage, and he's getting ready to announce something. He's in Berlin. I'm in Gilbert, Arizona. I didn't get a chance to go to Berlin. So he's talking about it. We've been waiting for this new product to be released. We don't know about the product. He's sitting in the audience. He's tweeting it. The moment the words came out of the vice president's mouth, he hit the send button, and I received it on my email in Gilbert, Arizona, and I received it within 10 seconds of when it came out of that person's mouth. That gives me a lot of value, because now I can retweet that information to people that are following me, because that's going to help them with their business. So you're going to follow people that are going to give you information that's going to be helpful. And trust me, there's lots of people out there that you would like to get the inside scoop. Now, people are going to follow you. Why are they going to follow you? I'll tell you something. If I'm in the market for a car, and you have a Twitter account, and I'm following you, and you're putting things on your Twitter screen that says, hey, this weekend only, we've got 2 models, we're going to blow it off the lot, here's the model numbers, here's the VIN numbers, first 2 people in get these cars, and I'm ready to buy, I guarantee you 15 minutes later, both of those cars will be gone. You're going to do a special on service. First 5 people come in, and possibly have never used your dealership before. Next 5 people that comes in, we're going to give you a free oil change. Or something, and you pick up a customer. What is your cost of customer acquisition in that particular case? your service apart. I'll give you a hint. It's 0. And the ROI is infinite because you divide it by 0. Does that make sense? If you were active on Twitter, you were putting things out of value, and you got your customers, existing customers, following that, or prospects, and you send something of value via tweet, which is a text message 100% free, do you not think that those people would exercise those deals? Well, of course they would. And that's the power with Twitter. And here's another thing. If I got it, and I wasn't in the market for a new car, but an associate at work would not shut their mouth up all week because is it going to be the red truck or the white truck, or am I going with the farm and investment? And I got it, I forwarded that tweet on to that person so that they would then take advantage of it. It's not just about your network, but it's about your network. When I send out a tweet, I do 3 times a day, every single day, Monday through Friday. Every day. How do I do it? I put it into Hootsuite. It's a free service where you can take all your tweets right ahead of time, and you put it in ahead of time, you schedule it, and it just goes out automatically, whatever time, whatever day you want it to go out. So I stay in constant communication with my customers and prospects. Think about this. I'm touching nearly 500,000 people 3 times a day while I'm on this stage right now at 2 o'clock when my tweets went out. And it cost me nothing. It's absolutely free. I got my brand in front of 500,000 people while I was standing on stage for free. That's the power of social media. Anybody convinced yet? You convinced? You all right? Okay, I'll keep going. All right, that's good. All right, social networks. Facebook. Got to talk about Facebook. Facebook's in the news. Facebook did an IPO. Facebook dropped to 50% of what it went for initially. If you invested in Facebook, sorry, bet your luck. But it ain't going away, by the way. Don't be too fast to sell your stock. Facebook is about ready to hit 1 billion people. Think about it. There's only 4 billion people on Earth. That means every man, woman, and child, including India and China, 1 out of 4 people participate in Facebook. Now, in marketing, we call that a watering hole. It's a watering hole. And the definition of a watering hole is like-minded people who gather to exchange information. And that information generally has something to do with sales, which results in revenue. We are like-minded people. We are all at AutoCon because we have something in common. We want to learn the best possible information so we can go back and generate more revenue. We're like-minded people. That's why the exhibitors are here. This is a watering hole. You have access to a watering hole, a marketing watering hole that has almost 1 billion people. I don't care how big a city you come from. The newspaper circulation is not more than 2 million tops. I think the New York Times just dropped total worldwide circulation below 2 million. You got 1 billion. You got 900 million people. And the bottom line is, as I said earlier, your customers are there whether you're there or not. So why not be there? It's 100% free. Set up your page and just leave it if nothing else. When they come looking for you, you will be there and they will find you. But if you're not in the game, you can't win. That's the bottom line. Wherever your customers are, you need to be there. MySpace. I laugh. I had 200 million people. If I told you right now that I had an industry magazine that went out to 200 million people, and for the first 5 people that came up to the stage, I would give you a full-page display ads for free, I would be stomped to death. Of course, you get access to 200 million people and it's free, but none of you think about MySpace. Everybody says, oh, it's dead. You know what? If I had 200 million people come to my website or my e-commerce store, that's not dead. That's pretty cool. And considering it's free to set up an account and set up a page, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it on every single social network that you... How many people are on workout? No hands. Academy? Plaxo? Still nothing. Right across the board. These are huge social networks. So what I want you to do is I want you to get out of your comfort zone and stop thinking Facebook. If there's 200 million people on MySpace, go set up a page on MySpace. It's going to take you 15 minutes. At least create a profile. Go to Orkut. Outside of the United States, Orkut's bigger than Facebook. Orkut was around and growing faster before Facebook was invented. But nobody's ever heard of it. So there's a lot of opportunity out here. We're just leaving money on the table. Let me give you LinkedIn. If you took away every social network on the internet and said I can only keep one, it would, by far, for me it's LinkedIn. It's the most professional online database of contacts on earth. I use it, honestly, there's hardly a week that goes by that I'm not in there using it for something. If I'm going to work with a client, let's say you got a prospect that's coming in, high-end, you're going to get a good sale out of this person. And your salesperson who's working with him checked out his profile on LinkedIn and found out that they both went to the same university. Did you win or not? Honestly, just play that out for a second in your head. The customer sits down, you start talking on the model, you then say sign here. What if you grew up in the same hometown? That wasn't a setup. Ralph and I had known each other for 2-3 years. We exchanged emails, we worked together. And it wasn't until we started talking about AutoCon about 6 months ago, I asked him, by the way, where do you live? 3/4 of a mile from your house. See, so we had something in common. As soon as we did that, we met in person, shook hands, we kissed, and I'm here today. How awesome is that? So think of the reconnaissance that you can actually glean from something like LinkedIn. What if you're trying to get into a corporate fleet manager, or you're trying to get into anybody, and you're trying to find a contact? Let me give you an example. There's a chapter in our virtual worlds. I'm going to talk about virtual worlds in a second. And I got right down to the deadline, and I had not done an interview with the Chief Executive Officer of Blending Labs. For every chapter in there, I found those leading experts, and I actually did telephone interviews. And you go here, there's 24 hours of interviews. You want to know why Twitter is important? Well, listen to the free interview on our website. I spent 45 minutes with Biz Stone. Biz Stone invented Twitter, and he tells me why he thought it was important. Vince Cerf, that was the coolest. You know I'm a geek. I'm not hiding. I took out my pocket protector. I spent an hour on the phone with Vince Cerf. Means nothing to you guys, right? That just proves what a geek I am. Tim Burns and Vince Cerf invented the internet. Could you imagine spending an hour on the phone talking with the guy who invented the internet? How cool is that? So I'm trying to get to the CEO. I tried everything. I tried email, I tried phone calls, 3 months. And I'm embarrassed to tell you this. I'm sitting at my desk and it's like, oh my God, why don't I try social media? So I go to LinkedIn, and this is a true story. CEO's name is Mark Kingdon. So I type in Mark Kingdon, he comes up, and it says that I'm 3 degrees, 1, 2, 3 degrees of separation from Mark Kingdon. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, I'm very close friends with somebody by the name of Doug Ronke. He's an international business person in Phoenix. We've known each other for a better part of a decade. And he knows this guy named Greg. I have no idea who Greg is, out of the Bay Area. And it turns out that Greg knows Mark Kingdon, but it's better. I have a business relationship with Doug. He trusts me. I do presentations for him. We've done a lot of business together. So I know that we trust each other. Get ready for this. Greg was Doug's roommate in college. Let me tell you something. There's Polaroids somewhere that represents the relationship that those two guys had. I mean, not like that. I'm sure there's stories that are never told around the dinner table. Now, it gets even better. Greg was Mark Kingdon's best man at his wedding. Hello, ching-ching. I mean, anybody see Hangover? Are we talking about a trusted relationship? So I asked Doug, can you please ask Mark to call me? He said, I'll pass your email, but I can't make any guarantees. 30 minutes later, the Chief Executive Officer of Blending Labs out of San Francisco called me in my office, and we did an entire hour interview in Second Life. It was the first executive interview ever to take place in the virtual world, and it was actually picked up by CNN. Go figure. You can't get to these kinds of people unless you can find that trusted link, that trusted relationship. And LinkedIn, that's only one way that you can use LinkedIn, but it's just totally cool for converting prospects into sales because you get inside information. YouTube. YouTube's the second largest search engine on earth. Google's the largest. YouTube is the second largest search engine on earth. The numbers are staggering. I mean, you see it there. I mean, please. I'll give you a practical example. I throw up videos all the time. I don't vomit videos, no, no. I put up videos on YouTube. And somebody saw one last November, and it turns out that they ran the college system in the Netherlands. So they said, would you mind coming over, first class, full speaking fee for an entire week to tour all the universities in Holland? We'll even put you up in Amsterdam for a couple of days. Hello. You know what? I don't market to the Netherlands, but they saw my video, they liked what I had to say, and I picked up a customer. And it only cost me the time it took me to put one of my videos that I had laying around anyway up on YouTube. You see the power? You see that you just need to have stuff there for when your prospects are looking, that they find you. It's just that simple. And YouTube is an extremely powerful way because everybody loves video. And I'm going to close with some videos. Okay, Second Life, virtual worlds. Anybody here on the grid? Anybody here have a clue what the heck I'm talking about? Oh, okay, dude. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You're on the grid? Which one? You know what it is? Okay, have you been in there? Okay. Have you been in there? No, okay, well you're aware of it. That's great. Usually in most audiences, they don't know what I'm talking about. Second Life is a virtual world. There's about 5 or 6, 7 of them out there. It's kind of like an online game. Don't ever call it a game because if you meet somebody who's totally into Second Life, they're going to slap you in the head because they get real sensitive. It's not a game. It is actually a marketing tool. Of the Fortune 500 corporations in America, 253 participate in this. And nobody except for these two guys have even ever heard of it in this audience. You at least need to be aware of it. It's awesome. It's a virtual world. It's a 3D environment. It's a totally immersive 3D environment. You create an avatar. By the way, everything that I'm going to talk about so far and what I'm going to talk about through the rest of these presentations is 100% free. I'm an entrepreneur, which is French for freaking cheap. I don't spend money on anything. So Second Life. You go into Second Life, if you look at that lower picture, that's my 2-story granite mansion on the ocean, and you can go in there with your avatar and sit by the water and listen to the waves crash and the seagulls. If you like, right now I got smooth jazz playing throughout the property, but if you want to switch it, hey, you're into heavy metal, just switch it, man. Whatever you're into. You can go into the ground floor. I actually have 2 stores, because I run 3 companies. So 2 stores actually sell products in here. Yeah, imagine a 3-dimensional virtual store with virtual products where virtual people come into this virtual world, touch these virtual products, pay with virtual credit cards. The only thing that's real in the entire transaction is the money that goes into my bank account. And it's completely unattended. So I have 0 overhead. So what you do is you can go in there, you can walk around, you can meet people. And that's the thing in Second Life. The people that you meet aren't computer generated. These are actually real live people from all over the world. And I want you to look at this one number there. Right there. There. 16,700,000. There's almost 17 million people participating in Second Life. You guys never even heard of it. That's why I want you to start exploring some of these opportunities that are out there. So what do I use it for? Well, I use it for a store. You can go upstairs in my 2nd floor. There's a conference room. Hey, there are conference table chairs. Feel free to use it. If you want to use my office, that's cool. I got a big screen TV. Or if you go down into the courtyard, I got a screen that's as big as this. And I teach classes. I teach university classes, usually master's and PhD social media classes, to all students all over the world. And they all come in 6 o'clock on a Thursday night from all over the world. And I do a PowerPoint presentation. My cartoon character is pointing up, and I'm talking through the computer, the same as I'm talking to you right now. So I can actually teach classes. I do interviews. It really is, it's absolutely amazing. And I'm going to say it again, 253 of the Fortune 500 companies are in there. You can go to the Dell building, 24 hours a day, and an avatar will actually walk up to you, sit you down, and say, what do you like? What would you like in your next laptop? You explain it, and tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, your laptop shows up at Federal Express. You can go to Pizza Hut, order a pizza, give me your address and your zip code. 30 minutes later, hot pizza shows up at your door. Wow, that's the power. BMW, Honda, all of the major automotive companies are represented here. For the most part, the last time I was in there, I sat in a brand new BMW, which was a concept car, but it was a reproduction of a concept car in 3 dimensions. So I could sit in it, see the dashboard, touch things, and actually drive it around. Is that weird? Go try it. It's awesome. Second Life, free, 100% free. Very powerful. Am I shifting your perspective a little bit? Okay, I got one yes. Back room, cheap seats. Okay, hell yeah, that's what I want.